Hello.
Hello, my friend. Hello, my friend. I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh no. Hello.
Yeah, I can see you. Can
Oh,
you hear
thank
us?
you. I'm really
Yes.
happy to hear too.
I am
Yes, I can
so
now. It was
I am so
stopping.
thrilled to finally see you because we haven't seen each other face to face in a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. I guess it's been like a year since last year already, which is crazy to think. But yeah. So it's
Yes.
been a while.
And it's been a nutty year. Like when we got together in Hollywood last year for the video shoot for the Facebook commercial, no one had, that was in February, and no
Yeah.
one was thinking, geez, I'm not really supposed to be breathing around these people because we didn't know.
Yeah,
And
we
I
had
had I had just gone to the NAM show, and I was home for a couple of weeks, and then I went to San Francisco for a couple of days, and then I flew up to Vancouver, and I was at the Drumeo Festival, and I flew straight to Hollywood, and I was with thousands and thousands and thousands of people from all over the world. And then all of a sudden, you can't leave your house for a year.
exactly.
It's
So crazy.
such
Yeah.
a weird thing. That whole concept of being afraid to be around people is such a weird thing, because I'm anybody that knows me knows that I'm like such a huggy bear, and I love to be around my people. And gosh, this has been a weird thing, but I'm so glad that through that commercial, Sharon, we got to hang out and we got to know each other, and that was such a fun experience. So
Yeah.
for you guys that are sitting here with us, and for anybody that's going to be watching later, Sharon was the, I have to say it, kick ass drummer on the video that we did for the Facebook shoot. She's the one that had the prom dress on, and that was just doing all of these like cool things. So cool that Facebook went from, oh, we're going to be just doing this little ad for Facebook, to we're going to do a full-on commercial, to we're going to do several versions of this commercial, to we want to spotlight Sharon first and throw a commercial just of her playing. I mean, it was crazy, and your life changed completely after that, didn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely did. Like, it was crazy, first of all, when we came back and there was the pandemic, because obviously we had no idea. So it changed that way. And then actually, what ended up happening was I ended up getting a bunch of inquiries about students because I own a drum studio. And so then that ended up changing so quickly that I actually ended up quitting my job to do this full time to teach lessons. So
Yeah.
then that kind of ended up happening. And this whole past year has been just crazy with just doing that and teaching lessons and stuff online and figuring all of that out and whatnot. But it's been so fun too. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So you're used to having kids come in, kids and adults, I guess, come into your studio. So you had to do a quick switch up from that to being able to do an completely online presence. I'm
Right.
sure you haven't been needing, tons of students, because everybody that sees that video asked me, how do I get a hold of her? And I've sent a lot of people your way because I know that you are the person to teach them. But
Well, thank
so
you. Yeah.
how has that been for you to switch up?
Yeah. So what's funny is that I actually announced a few days before the pandemic hit that I was actually already thinking about doing online lessons already.
Nice.
So I had already had that set up and everything, and I had my website set up so I could teach online lessons and have people register through that way. And then yeah, it was like 2 days later or something, the pandemic hit. So then they were like, "You're all gonna have to stay at home." And so I was like, "Well, I'm already prepared because like I've already been announced that I'm wanting to do virtual lessons." So I ended up just quickly switching over my students to online already, anyways,
Mhm.
just because of that whole thing. And so yeah, actually, 2/3 of my student roster right now are online and from all over the world now because of that opportunity to do online lessons now.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so it's actually pretty cool. Like the virtual thing has really changed things for me for sure. I've been working from home this whole time and doing drum lessons, yeah, online, but have recently opened up to doing in person again because in Ontario they've lifted some of the restrictions, so we can have
Mhm.
in person.
Mhm.
I just have my two drum sets so that we can social distance and mask and all that stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, like it's been crazy because I actually have always been only able to have a cap of a certain amount of students just because of the limitations of in person and whatnot. But because of the virtual
No,
lessons, I've been able to kind of open it up to whoever now and do different time zones even throughout the day. So that's really
That's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, I do like the virtual only because you can go hour to hour to hour to hour to hour and not have to worry about shuffling people in, shuffling people out, talking to parents and all of these things.
Yeah.
It's a very quick switch around.
Yeah.
The downside of that is I really like to walk around somebody's kit while they're playing and see exactly how they're holding their sticks, what they're doing with their feet, how high or low is everything compared to how they're sitting. You can see some of that on camera, but the
Yeah.
camera's not going to pick it all up. So
Yeah.
in that way, and I like to play with someone so
Yeah.
they can make sure that we're matching tempos and those kinds of things.
For
So
sure.
that's the downside of it, but there's so many upsides
Yeah.
that you can continue to connect with people and check on them. And I like the whole online thing because with my students, when I was doing it, I need to get back to teaching again. I would give them assignments, but they could check in with me whatever through the week, and they could play it for me, and I would listen, and so we could kind of check in.
For
And
sure.
and it was like, they were just continuing on with their lesson throughout the week. So by the next lesson, they really feel like they've grown from lesson 1 to lesson 2, and they're ready to move forward. So I like all of that.
Yeah, for
um
sure.
what
Yeah.
what have you done as far as, I know you were playing at your church, has your church continued to allow the band to come in and do that?
Yeah, so they have, but like with they follow the restrictions depending on what the government has like asked for. Uh so one of the things is obviously social distance and masked, but they've put up shields
Hmm.
in between all the instrumentalists, just depending, so that we're all kind of in our own like bubble type of
Yeah.
thing. And so we've done things like that, as well as we're basically just with the worship team for the most part, and
Hmm.
then going to the backstage area there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so we have continued. There was a point though it was complete lockdown, so we weren't allowed at all. And so we kind of were anticipating that might be happening, and so we ended up just recording a bunch of services all together, and then just played it on the Sunday as if it was a live service, but it was actually
Oh
a
yeah.
recorded service. So we
Yeah,
played
okay.
that. Yeah. So then that way we don't have to come in. Also, like our church is actually about an hour away from here. It's like in a different city. So that was actually kind of nice for us to be able to do that too. To
Yeah.
record it, pre-record it, and then like all of it is done in one day rather than multiple weeks.
Yeah.
So that was really good. So yeah,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
for
So
sure.
I know that once the okay, so we filmed that commercial in February. Then it was released on March 8th for International Women's Day.
Right.
And all kinds, everything blew up after that for you and for all of us actually, and for our group. Really, it grew so much. But the most comments that I heard about anyone from that video was everybody was asking about you, which I thought was just the coolest thing. And so have you had like lots of people contact you through Facebook and through social media? I know that you're pretty busy on TikTok and on other social media sites. Has it changed a lot for you since that
Yeah, like
time?
yeah, so most of the people who contact me are from either Instagram or Facebook. Like they'll
Mhm.
find me on either of those platforms usually. I'm currently just trying to build my YouTube right now because it's not super strong. Like I don't have that much stuff on there yet, but that's
Mhm.
kind of in the works for the future. But yeah, most of my clients or students find me on Facebook or Instagram for sure. Those are the main ones.
Well,
So
I know that after that commercial hit as well, you were contacted by some companies.
oh yeah. Well, yeah. So I was contacted by DW and Sabian and stuff, and when we were like talking back and forth, I actually had signed all the paperwork to be an artist under Sabian symbols and everything, and then the pandemic hit. So then that's actually kind of fallen through, but sort of being I'm in a waiting period right now. Basically, they're kind of saying we're waiting for things to sort of die down with COVID before we can even review any paperwork and stuff right now.
Yeah.
So it's been about it's been over a year, I guess now, since that point. But it's been okay. Like I'm okay. Like that's okay.
Sure.
I still also like really like playing my Gretsch kit and everything, obviously, and I still use Sabian cymbals and Vic Firth sticks and all that stuff just because I believe in all that stuff as well, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like I just love it. So I mean, it's not a it's no harm to me either way because I'm still gonna use their stuff.
Right.
But so I'm like, I'm still gonna use these symbols, like kind of.
Right.
So so
Right.
it's okay. But yeah, like that's definitely something that I think would be kind of fun in the future too. Like my dream is to actually kind of do drum clinics around the world too. I love teaching, so that's kind of the main thing that I would love to do in the future. So
That's
um,
amazing. And you would be great at it. You're such a good teacher.
oh, thank
Yeah, you're welcome. The same thing happened to me with Remo. I had met the Remo artist, the Remo rep, when I was in Vancouver at the Drumeo Fest. We were at the VIP thing, and he kept asking me who my head company was, and I told him Aquarian had been calling on me, and he said, no, 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 no. You need to focus this direction. But really, I had Remo heads on a lot of my drum sets. I had several sets before, and I had used Remo for a long time anyway, so I loved them. And so I started all the paperwork just like you did, and then he was furloughed because of the
you.
pandemic, and I just got my Remo heads probably a month or two ago, maybe.
Okay,
It's,
yeah, I
and
saw
it's
that.
so
Yeah,
it was a year. It was about a year. So the same thing.
yeah.
Same thing was happening. I was still using them, of course, but it was nice to finally get the official like welcome package and everything in the
Yeah.
mail. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, I remember you mentioning about that Remo last year when we were in LA. So
Yeah.
that's like really cool. I saw that you got the package and I thought that was really cool. So
Yeah. I was like,
that's that's
finally, I've been waiting.
awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're such a cool company too, and they've been really good to me, and so I'm thrilled to be part of that roster. But okay, so I know that you're building your YouTube channel. What else besides lessons and building up your social presence? What are you working on?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually in the process right now of writing a book. Like I want to
I
I'm
love
actually
this.
trying to write a yeah, so I'm writing a method book because I actually kind of I use a combination of my own method when teaching lessons plus other books as well. Plus if there's certain songs that students want to learn, I actually write the drum music and transcribe it myself and then show it to them through that. And then so like I kind of I'm coming up actually with a way where I can sort of give some beginners sort of some of the basics of transcribing and learning and kind of something different that way. But I'm also coming up with some video lesson packages at the moment too to give away for free to people who are wanting some of the basic foundations of drumming,
I
as well as
love
like,
that.
kind of putting yeah and like putting it towards like my YouTube channel is the hope and my website as well. So actually my church so we actually just started going to this church last March around the same time that I went to LA, and so we've been there for a year as well. And actually they were the ones who offered to allow me to use their video equipment and their studio space and everything to be able to do some of these drum lesson videos.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of like I'm really excited about that because they're like, if you want to educate people on drums and teach people how to do stuff, we're on board and behind you on this. So I think that's super cool.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I'm working on those kind of like education resources for right now, as well as my husband and I are just working through some other social media collaborations and things that we're hoping to do in the future. So
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, for sure. And then another thing too is that actually I also teach young kids as well. So ages 4 to 6 area as well. And so I'm also in the process of developing some education for them for beginning drum set stuff for kids. So yeah.
That was going to be my next question. I saw a video of you teaching. You guys were on the floor, a little boy, like
Oh
little,
yeah.
and you had blocks or something, and you were trying to teach him about counting music and that kind of thing. Where did you get the education to know that? I mean, I'm certain that you've had lessons in your past, and how, I'm not putting my words together very well, but where did your education come from, your drumming education?
Yeah, so first I actually went to school at Heritage College and studied drumming and also being a music director at a church. So my main thing is actually that being a worship director, but my side thing, I guess, that I studied was drum set playing. But I really like leaned into the drum set playing part. And after college, when I graduated, I actually worked at a daycare for about a year.
Okay.
So I actually like worked with preschool kids from ages 3 to 4, and then also worked with some babies to 2 years old as well. So that age range isn't a surprise to me, I guess, because I worked there, and my mom actually is a cook and also a teacher at the same daycare, and has been for all of my life. So I'm very used to little kids and very used to just being around them, as well as my sister-in-law is also a preschool teacher as well, and has
Okay.
been teaching preschool kids through Zoom during this whole pandemic. So she has been an awesome resource as well, with just asking questions about different ideas on how to collaborate preschool music or preschool education with my drumming background and music education. And so I've come up with a program for young kids to be able to learn music at a young age. So
Oh
that's,
man,
yeah.
that's fantastic. That is so fantastic, because I know a lot of drum teachers that are phenomenal teachers will not take 4, 5, 6, 7 year olds just because they're kind of scooty. I call it scooty bottom. So they can't stay still very much. They have a hard time paying attention. And honestly, it's really hard to know how to educate someone that's that young on how to count music and to be very coordinated and those kinds of things. So I'm really
That's
glad that you have come up with something, because that's so needed.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's actually kind of been a thought process of my husband and I. Like, we've been talking about, potentially having kids in the future and stuff. And so
Mhm.
what would that look like with the drum studio? And so that's why I'm kind of thinking ahead right now of like, I want to come up with these programs for young kids, because maybe in the future I might end up running a daycare here instead and making it a music based daycare type of thing as well.
Wow.
So we're just kind of like coming up with the resources and education and training now so that we can use it currently and then also use it in the future. But the other thing too is like, I find that with young kids, I was pretty scared of it at the beginning, also when I was teaching those 4 year olds. But I realized a really big part of it is is having fun with them for all of it, right, of their lesson, because you want to get them engaged enough so that they enjoy what they're
Oh
doing.
yeah.
Right, for sure.
Yes.
So that's a huge part of it. So I actually have a blast with them because I'm super silly with them, and I'll put on my ketchup costume or my
Yeah.
egg costume, and
Yeah.
I'll say stuff like, okay, we are going to learn triplets. You have no idea what that is, but we're going to learn how to play omelet on the snare drum. And I'm an egg. So there you go.
That's
So funny.
hilarious.
Yeah. So I just have fun with it. And in the meanwhile, like they're having fun and learning, even though they have no idea. And then I'm having fun, just kind of expelling all this energy to try to get them excited. So, anyways,
That
it's
would
fun. I like
probably
it a
work for
lot.
adults too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was interviewed for a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and one of the questions was, "What do you think is missing in music education?" And the first thing I said was fun. We need to have more fun when we're teaching and when we're students. If there's no fun in it, they're not going to stay with it, because it takes truly thousands of hours to even begin to try to master your instrument. So if you're not having fun and you're not getting something from it, you're not going to continue on. So I
Yeah.
think that is so crucial. I love that you're doing this. I love that
Thank
you're doing
you. I
it.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Okay, so as far as playing out, I know that with the pandemic, everything has been closed down, but once things open back up, do you have a band that you play with outside of church?
Yeah, so I play for a wedding company right now called DCF Weddings. So I'm the main drummer there for different wedding and corporate events. So that's like the main band thing that I'm doing. That's pretty much all I have. I was previously in like a country and classic rock band.
Uh-huh.
But then yeah, my singer moved and et cetera, et cetera. So now I'm just in the wedding band right now. So yeah. So in
Still
terms of
very cool.
Yeah, it's super fun. Like I absolutely love it, and I mean, weddings are so fun. I just find weddings so fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun to play at them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm trying to get my band booked for more of those types of gigs too, just because it is fun. You're right.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, how did you how did you come to drumming? How did drumming become your instrument of choice?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so this is really funny, but when I was younger, I used to look at the windshield wipers of a car, and I would come up with these rhythms in my head. So I'd be like I would just come up with random kind of things and basically be beatboxing. And then my parents put me in piano lessons, and I hated piano lessons. So then I
Amen.
actually ended up just asking them if I could not do piano lessons, and they said no. So then whenever I went to go practice the piano, I would change the piano settings to the drum set, and then I would start hitting the piano like a drum set so that I would be playing the drums on a keyboard. And so that's kind of how it started, because my parents were like, okay, you're not practicing, you're just playing the drums. So that's kind of what happened. And then they ended up getting me a drum set from Walmart, actually, my very first drum set. And I played it so much, like I played it for hours because I absolutely loved it. And that's kind of how it started. A family friend showed me a couple drum beats too, and I absolutely loved that. So I
Mhm.
stayed in at recess, every single recess. My music teacher would let me stay in and practice the drum set at the school. So I
So
was about
nice.
12 years. I was about 12 years old at the time when I really started. Um,
Uh-huh.
but before that, that was when the windshield wiper beatboxing kind of happened. So
So
that's
in school, did you play like in school band, jazz band, anything like that?
yeah, so I played the flute, which sucked. And so I
Oh.
told I told my teacher in elementary school, I was like, "What is this? I hate it." Like I was so mad. Anyway, so then he was like, "Sorry, this is the only instrument that we have available." So then I'm like,
Hmm.
"Okay." Actually a few months later, he ended up buying a bass guitar, and so that actually ended up being my first rhythmic kind of instrument. And then in and so that was in elementary school. But at this point, I was already staying in at recess, playing the drums, learning the bass guitar, kind of at the same time, hating the flute. So
Yes.
then what I ended up so what I ended up doing was that by the time I got to high school, which was like in a few years, I just told my music teacher that I was a drummer. Because I was like, because he asked me, he's like, "What instrument do you play?" And I didn't want to tell him the flute because I knew he would just give me a flute. So I said, "I play drums." And then actually from that point on, from grade 9 onwards, I just ended up playing drums at jazz bands and percussion for orchestras throughout high school and different concerts. So and then I formed my own band and stuff too in high school, and we played some shows and stuff like that too.
Were
So
you in drumline? Like, I don't know
no,
that that's a big thing in Canada.
oh,
Here
we
it
don't have.
is.
Yeah, I know. So I've always wanted to do something like that. I actually have. Yeah, we don't have that here in Canada. So I've always seen it from places in the states, but no, we just had like jazz band. So
Okay.
I learned more. Yeah, I learned more jazz stuff, if anything. So in
Okay.
high school.
And
Yeah.
what about in college? Did you play there as well?
Yeah, so in college, what I ended up doing was more drum set based stuff, but I also played timpani and like glockenspiel and
Yeah.
like snare drum stuff as well.
Uh-huh.
When I did the snare drum stuff, it wasn't like super heavy on that. I did some tunes from Portraits in Rhythm book by Anthony Cerrone. But other than that, I really did just more drum kit type of things and learned like playing to different tunes and different techniques and stuff. I actually had Larnell Lewis from Snarky Puppy come
Oh yeah.
to our school, and he hung out with me and um, the two other. There was only three drummers at our school, so he hung out with us three drummers and did kind of a drumming master class with all three of us.
Nice.
And so that was really cool. We got to go out for dinner with him and stuff after, and like he had such great wisdom just generally, and also was
Yeah.
super kind in helping us with our drumming and kind of helping us with just playing a little bit like the next level kind of thing. But like yeah, like a lot of it was over my head. So
Well,
I mean,
he's such a super cool guy though. He just
oh
truly
yeah.
is.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was so nice. I couldn't believe how he was just such a calm and just stable, really,
Yeah.
he was really cool. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, so anyways, drum kit stuff though was my main thing in college. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so if you could hang out with a drummer for a week and just learn what they know, who would it be?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um,
I know that's an impossible
it's
question
so
because
hard.
there's so many. There are so
Yeah.
many. But
No,
you could even give me, like your top 5 or something.
okay, top 5. Okay,
All
cool.
right.
So I would say Gavin Harrison. So the reason being is just because he was the very first drummer I ever saw at a drum clinic. And that like that put standards really high for me. I thought, anyways, he was really good. So definitely him. I just find that he has such a good uh handle on understanding musical concepts and then making it your own. And I love that. And I'm like all about that too when I teach. I try to be anyways. So I would love to be with him. The second one would definitely be Tommy Igo.
Yeah.
I've looked up to Tommy Igo for so much, like so long, and I use his books for when I teach as well. The
Mhm.
Groove Essential series.
Yeah.
And then I like follow him on Instagram and everything too. But again, he's just been a huge inspiration just with drumming education. So I would love to know his thoughts on different techniques on drumming education and how to teach and like what makes a good drum teacher and all these different questions like that.
Mhm.
The other one would probably be Mike Johnston as well, just because of the same reason. I
Mhm.
actually was signed up for his drum teacher camp this past fall, but because of COVID, they had to cancel it, and then they had
Right.
to cancel it again this coming fall. So I'm signed up for next year, but I've been waiting for that drum camp for 13 years.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah,
My
I've tried
gosh.
signing up so many times with that one. But anyway, so Mike Johnson is another one for sure. The fourth and fifth, like I feel like this is kind of cheating, but I would say Emmanuelle Caplet, but she's my drum teacher right now, so I can ask her anything.
Yeah.
So
That's not
like
cheating.
great.
I
Yeah,
love
okay,
Emmanuel.
cool. Yeah, so and it's cool too because she's like from Canada, so I feel like once COVID and stuff, like I feel like I could just drive over and ask her questions anyways. But
Yeah.
yeah, but she's just generally great. Like I've been taking drum lessons from her for a while uh this past year with COVID, and I took
Yeah.
some lessons with Dorothea Taylor as well. But
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, so definitely Emmanuelle Caplet. And then I think the last one would be Taylor Gordon, the Pocket
Mm.
Queen.
Oh
So
yeah, she's
yeah,
so awesome.
she's great. Like I just love her style of drumming because it's very different from what I play, but I like that because it challenges me to think outside the box and also be okay with having space in your drum solos,
Yeah.
space in your grooves, because that's definitely something that I struggle with as a drummer is having those spaces and being okay with it. I think it's
Mhm.
also because as a person, I like talking, and so I don't like space that way either. I don't know.
And you know what? She plays so clean. There's
Oh
just like
yeah.
she's so clean. Everything is there's a method to everything that she does.
Oh
I
yeah.
love to listen to her play. It's
Yeah.
so her groove is deep,
Yeah.
man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Sorry. Okay, I want to open up to you guys. I'm certain that you guys have some questions for our cool Sharon. So if you have anything that you'd like to add, or ask her, please feel free to do that now. Don't be shy. Anybody?
I may
Well,
have
go ahead.
missed asking, or I may have missed this at the beginning, but where in Canada are you from?
Yeah. I'm from Woodstock, Ontario. So just about an hour and a half from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was Laura, by the way, Laura
Yeah.
Welch.
Yeah. So I know that Laura's from Welch Tuning System. So she's, which is the drum company you use, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. I've been following their stuff a lot well, not recently, over this past year, because I found out about them from you. So I like their stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So amazing. So amazing. Okay, Anita, did you have a question?
Well, I kind of had two, but the only one I can think of right now is I know that you collaborate with your husband, and he plays guitar, right?
Yeah, that's right. He played guitar.
And I just wondered if you play together in a band or if you're together at your church, or I mean, I see you have a great relationship, so it's probably a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Does he play the lead guitar? Does he play bass guitar, or how does that work? Or how do you fill in your other instruments?
yeah, for sure. So he plays electric guitar mainly. That's his main instrument, and we do actually play together. We'll like write songs or jam down here if we're like, oh, let's just hang out and whatever. So we'll definitely do that. But we mainly play together at our church. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing that we do. Like is on Wednesdays at rehearsal and then Sundays during the services. But he actually plays the drums and bass guitar, and he actually plays way more instruments than like he plays a lot of instruments actually. So he's very talented. But yeah.
That's got to be a lot of fun. I'm really happy for you. That's
Oh, thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
I didn't realize he played the drums as well.
Oh yeah, he plays drums, bass, guitar. He plays the Merlin, like the ukulele and mandolin. Like he plays all those kind of. He plays piano too and sings. Like I actually,
Nice.
it's funny because the reason that we met actually in the first place was he was a music director at a church and I was a music director at a different church. And so then I was like, "Hey, you want to date and then also get married and then come to my church?" So so that's what happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, he's very
That's
I have to
talented.
tell
So.
you that I'm pretty new, and today is my eldest son and daughter-in-law's 3rd anniversary, and that's the 2nd time I ever played in public, and it was so much fun. I had no idea what I was doing, obviously, but it came out okay. You know, you play with professionals, and then it sounds okay. But
That's
I just love how you played at your wedding, and I've watched that video like once or twice, and it just looks like you guys were having just a blast. I just love it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's really cool that you played it. They're ready. That's cool. That's awesome.
It was kind of cool because the kids were older when they got married, so they had like 32-year-old friends, you know, and they were kind of shocked, and that was the best part, you know. Hey, your mom's kind of cool, you know, and your dad and Rod, my husband, played the guitar. He plays electric. He plays mostly acoustic now, but it was kind of fun. I mean, it was a snowstorm, so there weren't very many people there in Marion, Iowa. And but the people that were there, we just had a blast. But every time I see you, I think, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And I love to hear that you're in the wedding, drummer. Like, do they just pair you with other people, or do you have a band for that, or what?
Yeah. So, first of all, very cool that you played drums there. I love like the shock factor that like women drummers can give and like just be like, yeah, I play drums. Like I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I do too.
Yeah. So for myself, so for the wedding company, I actually play with like a team of musicians. So they'll say, okay, so we want Sharon as on the drums, and then this bass and this guitar and this
Okay.
piano player, and so then they'll group us together. But a
Okay.
lot of the times, I'll play with the same people. So it'll be kind of like, okay, we're gonna do this team again. Okay, we're gonna do this
Sure.
team again. A lot of the times they'll switch it up if there's multiple weddings on the same day. So then I'll end up playing with another group if that happens, so that they can split up the teams basically into different weddings. So that's kind of how it goes
Cool.
for us.
I
Yeah.
wondered how that worked. That's kind of neat. I suppose
How
you probably
cool.
have, you know, it's probably easier if you know the people that you've played with before, but still fun. It's just still
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, yeah, it's pretty fun because like you kind of get to know obviously the instrumentalists that you play with, and then it's kind of cool to have different people though at the same time, because then it's like a different feel, and it's
Yeah.
like it's almost a little bit of a challenge that way, but it's
Great.
fun.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Very cool.
I love that. I have never been in a band that was like that. Well, besides like, you know, church bands where you're playing, they switch up people all the time in praise teams and whatever. But I've never worked for a company that they're just like, this is the team for this wedding, but next time you're gonna be playing with a whole different team, but the same kind of music. That actually would be fun because that stretches you as a musician
Oh, for
to
sure.
do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely found that actually as well. Like just playing with different musicians has definitely stretched me in different areas. So It's good.
I tell that to any of my new students that come on, play with as many different people as you possibly can,
Oh, yeah.
because you will learn things about yourself. You'll learn things about your instrument. You're going to learn how to read other people. I'm a very visual player. So I watch everything that's going on in the stage, and then I know how to react, because if my singer is getting bigger than we did in rehearsal, then we will all get a little bigger, because we're going to respond to what she's doing. And same thing, if the audience is not really responding well, or whatever, we're going to respond to that as well. You know how the audience has a feel,
Yep.
just like the band does. So if the audience is come in and they're just like, they've got all of this energy, then the band is going to have so much more energy too, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, we also find that as well. Like, there's definitely times where, like the band will get bigger because the dancers, and not the dancers, but like the wedding people are,
Yeah.
excited, and yeah, it's just how it goes, and it's a lot of fun.
It's a symbiotic relationship when everybody's up and dancing and having fun, just like the whole thing. We all feed off of that with
Oh,
each
for
other.
sure. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
So I know that you're taking from Emmanuel right now, but have you had private lessons from some other kind of famous drummers, or from people that you've really admired and wanted to learn from?
Yeah, for sure. So I've taken lessons from Dorothea Taylor.
Oh yeah, you
A
said
little
that.
bit, yeah. And then I also took lessons from Grayson Recruitment. So
Okay.
he's a 16-year-old kid in New York, and he's like very popular jazz drummer right now, like on social medias and everything. Yeah, sweet guy and everything. He taught me some stuff like in regards to playing traditional, and just some jazz stuff as well. Dorothea and Emmanuel were helping me with that too, just because I've never been in a marching or drum corps type of thing, but that's always been something I've kind of wanted to just try out and challenge myself with. So I've asked all three of those teachers to show me traditional playing, and like what that looks like. So that's currently what I'm working on right now. So
How's that going?
it's bad. I literally, like every lesson I complain to Emmanuel, and I'm like, Emmanuel, my arm doesn't bend that way. And then she always tells me in her French accent, she's like, it's will. And I was like, no, it won't. But it's great. I love her, and she's so patient with me, and I don't know, I have a lot of fun with Emmanuel too right now. She's just challenging me a lot in different areas, not just traditional. We're working on Latin grooves as well, and playing independence in Latin. And that's also something I've been wanting to work on more so. So that's been a lot of fun too.
She is so much fun. She's exactly like you think she will be too.
Oh,
she's just always friendly, always happy, always silly, and man, but she knows what she's talking about. She had so many years of drum corps, like from the time she was 9 or something until she was out of high school. And then I remember asking her about switching from that thinking of drum corps where everything is precision playing, that to groove, and what that was like to do that mind switch from to be able to kind of lay behind the beat, and to to have a groove feel to something instead of everything being exacting and right on. She said it was really, really hard for her to switch gears like that. She had to learn to do that. She didn't fall into it easily because it was opposite of everything that she had done. But once she had it, my gosh, does she have it? It's so easy. And just the fact that she's got all of those years of rudimentary training, she can do the craziest fills on a kit and make it look super easy, because she's just had that all of those years of training. And then it just comes out in her playing. It's amazing what she can do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was like something that I found really cool too, was that I knew that she also did drum corps and stuff at a young age, and then kind of switched to like playing kit and whatnot as well. I find it interesting because like that's almost exactly what I'm looking for right now in a teacher, because I'm the opposite. Like I was drum kit, right? And like very heavily on drum set and feel, and I played in bands and like all those things. I knew my rudiments and everything like that, but like I was not as strict as someone who played in drum corps. So
Right.
that's kind of why I appreciate Emmanuel, because I'll play like my double strokes and I'll play all my rudiments, and I can do it well enough that it's at like a level that I'm like, okay, this is okay. It's like pretty good. But for her, she's like, nope, we need them like 1 inch higher, your stick. And I'm like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, but
I
but
know.
it's great because I need that. I need someone to tell me, no, we need it to be precise just for the sake of we want it to be strict right now, and challenge you this way. So she's great. I
Yeah.
really appreciate her. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh, me too. Same. And I came at it the same way. I was always drum set. I never really had lessons, and I never played on, you know, a drum line situation or anything like that. So when I did take from her, it was the same, because I can do rolls, I can do these things, you know, I can play my kit. But she was like, oh no, your stick should be coming up vertical. You know, I was like, yeah, but I'm playing fast. No. You know, so she would correct me. I was so glad though. Somebody needed to call me on my BS if I was not doing it right.
yeah, totally, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anybody else have questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead, Sonia.
Unmute. Yeah, for the church team group organization that you're playing for, I hope I didn't miss this already, but do you guys do any recordings, or is it more like they send teams out to go do the thing and then that's it? Or do you guys do like put out any recordings?
Oh, like an album or something like that, or
Yeah, or CDs or
okay.
social medias or anything?
Yeah, so we don't have any like albums or CDs or anything like that, but we do pre-record them for like to play on Facebook and YouTube. So they're like videoed like music of us playing and everything. But yeah, we don't have like any albums or anything because they're all just worship song, like they're covers of music. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Still fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good question though.
Yeah. Also, hi, Sonia.
Hi. I'm Sonia.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. Sorry, I have to run in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to ask you. So aside from the stuff that you're working on, what do you enjoy playing for yourself? Like, what's your favorite kind of stuff to play?
Good
That's a
question.
good question. I love playing Bruno Mars and also Michael Jackson tunes. Like I love that kind of music just because I feel like it's so groovy and like funky, and you can really do a lot of stuff with it. Yeah, I like to fake play Dirty Loops, which is a band that I really like. And I
My
say
favorite
fake
band.
Play. Yeah, I love them. Absolutely.
My favorite band.
Yeah. But I say fake play just because I can't play it, but I pretend. Yeah. So but yeah, so I would say those ones, but definitely Bruno Mars and Michael Jackson. I absolutely love playing drums to them. So
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me, guys. I have to run. Nice to see you, Sharon.
Good to
Thanks
see
a lot.
you.
Great. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, Janine. Okay, does anybody else have any questions before we wrap this up? Maya, go ahead.
I have two if I can ask them.
Absolutely.
I actually have a similar background, I think, to you. I didn't do any drum corps stuff, but I did play drum set and classical, so classical percussion. So my first question is, do you feel like you're like not having the drum corps background affected your drum set playing, like technicality wise?
Yeah. So like so the question being like, has my like, because I didn't have the drum corps background, how has that affected me like right now type of thing? Is that right?
I feel like if I had gotten more of that, I feel like my technical ability, or my strength, I'd say, with the minor, I mean, I do play and I can do all the rudiments, but I feel like it would be, I mean, like you were talking about, Emmanuel, that the level of that around the drum kit would also be better. I mean,
right.
I think, but for me anyway, personally, but what is your opinion? How would you?
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So I guess my thing is like, I think for sure it has affected me. Like I think because I wasn't in like a drum corps background, like I don't use like I don't use like single flam mills and all these things that like I would be able to like I could recognize them if I were to play them individually and stuff like that. But a lot of the times I go by, okay, like does this fit in the tune, or like does this kind of feel like flow with the rest of the song and things like that. I think like a lot of the stuff that I learned with drum kit playing is from even like Mike's lessons. Like I took lessons from Mike Johnston, like with his drum lesson program online, and different things like that, where I ended up playing like linear fills or or just random drum fills or grooves and that stuff that I realized were rudiments after, type of thing. So I think for me it was like the opposite. Like it was like I would play the thing and then I would say, oh, I'm realizing, okay, that these are all the rudiments that I'm doing, type of thing. But like I didn't do it where it was like, I know all these rudiments and now I'm going to use them and put them all into the kit, if that makes sense. That was kind of like the other way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how it went for me, I guess. I don't know.
So you learn the rudiments and then apply them to the drum kit, or the other way around? You just kind of applied things to the drum kit and then realized that they were rudiments that you were
so that one. So yeah. So like, but that was so when I was younger, right? So like, because I started when I was like 12. So a lot of the things that I learned, I like just played the linear fill. Like I would play, for example, like right, left, kick, or like do a whatever fill or groove or whatever. And then I realized afterwards, when I was like 16, 18, like 19 years old, I realized after, I'm like, wait a second, I've been also learning rudiments recently, and I'm realizing that all the stuff I've been learning previously are actually rudiments. So that's kind of how it went. So where it was like, wait, I've already played this. Oh, now I understand that this is like a flam paradiddle and like and stuff. So that's kind of how it went for me. And so so when I actually teach lessons, like I actually kind of realize that. And so how I go about it is I actually go the opposite way. So like I actually will show my students like various rudiments, and I'll go, here's how you can like apply these to the kit. And then you can also change certain things so that it's like a hybrid rudiment, and it's also a really cool fill that you can use within this tune. So from the way that I learned that way, where I just played it and then learned the rudiments, I now actually teach the opposite because of that. Because I was kind of like, I think I would have benefited if I had known what I was doing, if I had known what I was playing back then. So yeah,
Exactly the same for me. That's exactly the same for me.
Yeah.
So good. Did you have another question? Because you said you had two.
Yes, I did have a second one.
Go ahead.
And because I actually also played timpani, and I did have to play a little bit of marimba and snare and orchestra. But my question is, like when I play jazz, I always am tempted to use my toms, kind of like the timpani, for example, and I'm always looking for all those different pitches. But do you ever include any of your experience in classical playing in your drum set playing in any way?
Oh, that is a really good question.
It really is.
So okay, so I wouldn't say like super often, but that's just because I feel like I did study timpani and like snare drum and marimba and things like that, but not super heavily. So like I really, even at that period of time in high school and elementary school, I really still focus on the drum set. And then when I went into college, it was like mainly drum set with even less timpani and even less snare drum. So I would say actually for myself, no, like I haven't really used a lot of classical stuff in my playing. Like yeah, I guess I never really thought of that. That's a really good question, but yeah, I guess that would be my answer though.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the
Good
question.
questions, you guys.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I think we've answered all the questions, Sharon. Did you have anything else that you would like to share with us before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. This has been really fun. Like
It has been really fun.
Talking and stuff. Like it's cool. So yeah.
I'm glad that we got a chance to hang out with you. You're such a cool gal anyway. I wanted everyone to get to know you.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, so before we go, can you please drop your links into the chat section so that anybody that's watching this from on our YouTube channel or on my social media, when I post it, they can know how to find you. If they are looking for a teacher or something like that, or if they just want to follow your social media presence, how do they locate you? So maybe drop those things in the chat if you don't mind.
For sure, yeah. So like just in the chat box down here.
Yeah. And then that way when they're watching it, they can go and follow you.
Yeah, sure. That'd be cool.
Not like a stalker.
Like I just put it, so it's Ransom Drum Lab, Ransom Drum Lab, actually on all socials. So I just
there you go.
Lab. But yeah,
okay,
cool,
fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, Sharon. I appreciate it. You're such an important part of our group, and I'm just so glad that I got to hang out with you once again here with this little group, and then of course with all the people that are going to get to see you on YouTube as well.
For sure. I really appreciate you just having me and chatting. So thank you so much. And nice to meet everyone too. Like this is really cool.
It was. And you call me anytime and we'll just hang out and talk.
For sure. I appreciate that, Tammy, always.
All right. All right, girl. All right, you guys, thank you for taking the time to hang out with us. I've got another one, Samantha Landa, another Canadian. Yay. She's going to be on with us Friday night at 6. So please, if you can, be there to support her, and we will have a fun time hanging out on Friday night.
Awesome.
All right, you guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.